Today we're at West Hollywood where I usually coach. The lighting is actually really bad today, so I couldn't film. So today I'm just going to be talking about, even if you're a top player or top ranked player, there's levels to that top ranked player. So what I'm saying is, let's say you're top 50 in the world. You could be recreational or, ATP player or whatever, but I'm used to ATP players and the junior top levels. So I'm just going to be talking about like a top ATP level or a top nationally ranked player or, a state level player or regionals too. If you're playing a top 50 player and you get kind of scared, and sometimes you could be a parent or you could be a player, you don't want to go in a match already losing. You have to kind of go through their history of what they've been doing in the past couple months. So if their ranking is 50, for example, but their ranking is moving up, let's say they're like 100 2 months ago and 75 a month ago, and now they're at 50, their momentum is going up. So there's very high chance that they're going to be playing very well. And then there's like a top 50 player where I don't want to name any player, but if you're a top 50 player and you're kind of staying at that top 50, they're very, very solid, but they're not going to be damaging players. Like their ranking is not going up and down. So they're just like a actual top 50 player. Now there's another top 50 player where your ranking could be top 10 in the world. 2 months ago, a month ago, your ranking went down to 40 in the world. And then now, because all of your points are dropping out, you're at 50 in the world. So it depends on if you're moving down in the rankings or moving up in the rankings. You don't want to get scared or judge an opponent by their ranking currently, because you have to kind of go by their history of their couple months. When they're actually moving up in the rankings, you also don't want to be too scared of that. You want to prepare yourself, but you don't want to be scared, because when they're moving up in their rankings, a lot of times their rankings are going up because they've won tournaments or they've done well consecutively in tournaments in a row. And what that does is you get actually tired from these matches, and you're not Superman, so your level is going to drop off. And when you actually play them, you might have a chance to beat them because they're not at 100% endurance-wise, mentally, they've been traveling too much, something like that. So when you're going into a match and you're trying to figure out how your opponent plays and mentally how they are, you're trying to figure out their rankings, you don't want to assume too much that they're going to play at that level all the time. So basically, you have to go into a match thinking that you have a chance all the time. And when you go into a match, it's very important to look at their history and prepare yourself according to that. For example, when I was coaching Chung in 2017, 2018, he was going to be playing Gulbis. Now, a lot of you know Gulbis for his famous forehand, but the thing is, he was a top 10 player or top 20, top 10 player. So when you think about that, he was like top 100 player, and Chung was, he was like 150 at the time. When you look at the rankings, Gulbis had the upper hand. But the thing is, when you looked at his history at that time, his ranking was going down and his momentum was not going up. He wasn't very confident in his game. And Chung, because he had me as a new coach and he had some past wins a couple weeks before, and we were working on new things, mentally he was going up. Gulbis was going down and Chung was going up, and it was a pretty close match, but he eventually beat Gulbis. Gulbis had an amazing serve. He was serving at 140 miles per hour or something like that. It was ridiculously fast, but we planned out and said, hey, let's just get the serve back and just hit it to his forehand, because his forehand was struggling at the time. So that's an example of what's happening to your rankings and the history of the rankings. The most important thing is trying to prepare yourself mentally and knowing your opponent before you go into the match. If you know the opponent already, that's fine. But the thing is, a lot of times when you're going to a tournament, you don't know who you're playing. You just know their name and you get that draw. But the thing is, you want to kind of research on them. You could ask around and ask different players about how they play, but a lot of times tennis players are loners and they don't really socialize. So a lot of times you have to kind of figure out yourself how they played in the past. So go online. If you search their name, you kind of look at their history of how they played, if they're going up in the rankings or down in the rankings. But even if they're going up in the rankings, remember, they're probably tired. They have to win consecutively. And tennis is a tough game. Sometimes one shot doesn't work and your whole game just goes down with it. So even if you're playing a top player, don't get scared. make sure, you have the right mindset before you go into the match. I'm gonna try to do more videos on the court like you guys wanted. There are some stuff that I still want to do using the chalkboard. I think some people like the chalkboard, some people like the court, but I think the technical videos, I'm gonna be doing more technical videos on court and a lot of these talking videos with the chalkboard. I was gonna film today, but the lighting was bad. I'll figure out a way to find a better time to do the videos. So if you have any questions about anything that I've done in the past, or if you have any tennis related questions, ask me in the comments and I'll try to do the video for you. I'll see you in the next video.